My name is Katharina Klug. I'm a potter based in Cambridge. I've been always involved with pottery due to my family. My mother has a pottery in Austria and I grew up in this environment. And when it was time to decide what I shall do in my life, pottery was the obvious choice. I went to university and did a degree in ceramics, first in Austria, then in Germany. And as part of that, I worked on glazes and how to formulate glazes. And also I decided to work with porcelain. This is my chosen material. It's a very white clay. It lets the glazes shine. Also, it gives a great contrast when I work with my pastels. Everything I make starts off on the potter's wheel. I aim to throw every piece in one. I feel that it gives the pot integrity, and I don't like joints. They often show in work. So I couldn't do what I can do now. I had to train myself to throw a piece in one. I take more time. I use harder clay and also very little water in the process, which gives more stability. Throwing porcelain is in general a challenge, but I cherish the time I spend on the wheel and hone that shape and work on the curve and try to balance out the proportions of neck and belly and foot ring. I also turn every piece. Every piece gets a shaped base, a narrow foot ring to elevate the shape. I make tools and I also make my pastels. I mix ceramic materials with oils and waxes, melt them, pour them in a mold that I make from clay and let it settle. And what comes out is like a wax crayon and can be used on ceramic. I apply it on the bisque-fired piece. I mainly work with the topic of lines. The narrative can be nature, architecture, cables, anything that is made up from lines or can be drawn. I let influence my work. I have at the moment two designs. One is called Moonlight Birch. It has a dark background and white lines. It should emulate birch trees at night. I apply a light pastel first by hand, every line, often very simple patterns. And then I put the piece on a banding wheel and with a brush I apply an oxide mixture onto the surface, and the white lines, because they contain oils and waxes, they repel the glaze I apply. Then I have the reversed design, which I call monochrome, very simple because that's what it is, a monochromatic scheme. The lines look very much like you would draw with crayons onto paper, and that's very much intended. As a child I really enjoyed using crayons and I never grew out of it really. The dark lines have oxides in them to make them black or other colors, but at the moment I stick to the black. And then I apply a transparent or matte white glaze on top of the dark lines. I think I try to make the shape of the vessel perfect, but the line should be lively and immediate and spontaneous to give the work life and to give the work also the impression and the clear indication that it is handmade. Everything I do is made by hand, and I want it to show and reveal itself. in that way. For me, the individual piece counts. It's not that I make small groups, but every individual piece that comes out of my workshop, I wanted to have that balance between shape, pattern and color. And each of these elements I try to manipulate in a way that makes them come together. Also very important for me is that pots can live forever if they're not broken. Maybe somebody will find them in a charity shop or dig them up in my garden. Therefore, I would like them to be timeless. I would like them to stand the test of time. I would like them to be contemporary, but at the same time work in a 1960s house, in a 1950s house. It shouldn't matter where they are and what they are paired with or surrounded by. I would like them to be a calm form that you like to look at.